And I also have so many feelings about this blanket, but they are very positive at the moment. We'll see. There is still a few hexies to add in here. Hey everyone, it's Natalie, also known as Nitty Natty. Welcome to episode 267 of the Love in Stitches podcast. It is officially spring, which for me is definitely bringing about some spring cleaning in terms of finishing projects, starting to think about what new projects I want, especially as this is lining up with the end of a month. So I was really excited to film today's episode because I have not one, but two pretty much finished objects. And I was preparing for everything, laying out one of my projects on the bed to snap a picture, and I realized that I had made a mistake. I will give you one guess as to which project that is. Anyway, we're going to get into all of it. I do have things that are nearly finished, which I am really excited about. Just a little less excited now that I have to go back and do something on one of them. I've also been dipping into some of my secondary projects, which are going to be then my main projects in this coming week, feeling really motivated about all that. So why don't we just get right into it? Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one website platform for entrepreneurs to stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just starting out or managing a growing brand, Squarespace makes it super easy to create a beautiful website, engage with your audience, and sell anything from digital products to physical products to time, all in one place and all on your own terms. I'll be sharing more about Squarespace later on in the episode. Let's start with our first nearly finished item. I thought this was a totally finished one, and I was proven wrong. So if you didn't make a guess because I'm going to show it. Ta-da! It's my BeachComber Flares. Okay, they're off the needles. They're looking so cute. They're blocked. I just blocked them last night. Finished them yesterday morning, blocked them, super, super excited. I'm going to go through all the details in the timeline on this, but I want to put a picture in right here of just about 20 minutes ago when I was getting ready to film this podcast and I had these laid out on the bed, and see if you can figure out what is wrong with these pants. Take a little gander. It's a little bit subtle, but once you see it, okay, if you didn't notice already, one of the pant legs is shorter than the other. And it's not just the way that they're laid out. I went back and put in stitch markers in the different sections and counted rows, and I am 6 rows short on one of the legs. The thing that makes me the most upset about this is that I knew it. I knew it when I was knitting on the second leg that it felt short, and I didn't go back and check for some reason. I just kept going and kept knitting, and I'm so mad at myself for doing that because I could have saved myself a ton of time by just checking in the first place, adding those rows then, and then everything would be fine. So let me show you what's going on with the mistake, and then we're going to continue ahead as if I did finish this because I just can't bring myself to talk about these pants for one more week. I love them so much. Like, they're so cute, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I have just talked about them and worked on them ad nauseum on the podcast. And so this is their final week, even though they're not finished, unless one thing happens, which I'll talk about. So here's what's going on. The spot where I have messed up is in this little straight portion. So I don't know if you can see these two markers. There's a marker here and a marker here. So you decrease basically from the crotch down for the thigh. You work straight for just a little bit, and then you increase for the flares. Aren't those cute? They came out super, super cute. I think with another block, these will kind of lay flat even a little bit more. So this straight section here is what doesn't match up on these two guys. And it's not a lot. It's only a few rows. I think it's 6 rows. I'm going to go back and like really double check, but just in the initial looking through, that's what I have figured out, that it's 6 rows. It's either 6 or 8. I thought it was supposed to be 8. So here is what happened. When I was writing out my rows for the first leg, originally, I had done the math wrong, off by 1 inch. So I had written down for myself that I needed to do 44 rows right here. So I had that written, I had that in my head. When I went to knit the first leg and I tried them on, I realized, oh, I forgot an inch somewhere. I don't remember exactly how that worked out. I had forgotten an inch, I needed an extra inch, so I added another 8 rows into, or 6, I can't, again, 6 or 8, it doesn't matter. But I added more rows, another inch into this section, and then I carried on. So when I went to do the second leg, I remember thinking, okay, you have to add more rows than what you originally wrote down. It's not 44, it's either 50 or 52. And I remember thinking that. I remember counting the second leg and being like, yeah, I'm good. I did the extra rows because I didn't want to forget, because I knew that they were supposed to be in there. And then I carried on. And even, I guess when I was putting this project away, because it's so long, I was folding it. So I would like fold it up like this, and I would kind of fold it down. And so at that point, I could see, you know, the legs next to each other. And granted, the one I was working on was with frogged yarn, so it was very wrinkly. I assumed it was shrinking up a little bit because I was like, man, it's looking shorter than the other leg, but it must just be because I frogged it. I know I did those extra rows. I should have checked. I should have checked. I could have saved myself from all of this. But I mean, even now, like, you can see that this leg is definitely shorter than this one. Oh, it makes me so mad because I could have fixed it so easily. And I'm going to fix it. These pants are going to need one more surgery, at least. Luckily, this is going to be a pretty easy one. It's just annoying. Like, it's just annoying that I could have not done this. I could have avoided this. So in the leg that is too short, I will basically treat it kind of like an afterthought heel. I will put 2 needles in. So I'll put 1 needle in all the way around. I'll go down a couple rows, put another needle in all the way around, and then I'll cut that row in between. I guess I'll just do 1 row in between. I'll cut it, and then I'll separate the pant leg entirely. I'll go, okay, I've lost 1 row, so I need to make sure to add that one in. Plus I need to add my missing rows minus 1, because actually I guess you can think of it a different way. The row that you cut out will be added back in when you do the grafting. So whatever, if you're ever doing this, like I've had to do this on so many projects, which is why I feel like it's worth explaining. So needle all the way around, down 1 row, needle all the way around, cut it, you've lost a row. I then am going to knit 6 or 8 more rows, however many I need. And then that lost row will come back when I do the grafting. So then I will graft the whole thing, Kitchener stitch, all the way around. And it will look fine because, how do I know this? Because I've already done it in the top of each of these legs. And you cannot see it at all. Let me see if I can find it. I'm sure if I flipped to the inside legs, I think it's somewhere like right here. I had to graft it back together, like here-ish. I mean, you can't tell, only because of the ends. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I was this close to believing I had a finished object. Anyway, as I said, I'm going to pretend that these are finished, and we're going to talk about them from the beginning. But how about I try them on for you so you can see what they look like, even though the legs are different. Everything else is pretty much the same, so let's go to trying them on. All right, let's get a little intimate here. Okay, so here's the pants. Aside from the legs not being the same length, I think the fit is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I feel like I do wonder if I would have just been better off going up 1 size entirely for the entire thing. While there's like room up here and everything, I feel like there's still some strain in my legs, even though I added those stitches. So that's just something to note for next time. They don't feel uncomfortable. Just pulling them on feels a little bit like, okay. And I know things are going to stretch out, so that's what I need to know. I need to wear these and like see how they actually wear before I understand really what size I should be making. So I'm still debating changing this. I 1000% need elastic. I have to keep pulling this up. But I think with elastic, it's going to be okay. But I am debating maybe just changing this entirely, like taking this out and making this ribbing and just making it super high-waisted. I'll probably still put elastic in if I do that, but that's for another time. I gotta wear it for a little while first and see how it feels. But yeah, they're super comfortable. I can't wait to fix the leg issue so that I can actually start wearing these as pajamas. When I finish a project, I do like to go back and kind of do a big summary of it, just in case, I don't know, this is your first time watching this episode or you've missed some episodes, or even just for me, I like to kind of see like, how long did it actually take me to make something? So let's dial back all the way to December 29th. That's when I cast these on. The Love and Stitches membership and the Wolfpack membership are doing a make along together where we are making garment bottoms. So they could be pants, dresses, skirts, shorts, really anything. And this is what I chose to make. So I cast it on during the cast on party in December. It was kind of like a New Year's Eve sort of a cast on party. Cast them on, and the first go of things, it came out like way too big. Came out way too big. I ended up needing to go down in needle size, and also I had thought I was going to add extra hip increases, which now thinking about it, maybe I did need those because my waist and hip difference are pretty big, and maybe I needed a few extra in the hip and leg area. Well, we'll get to that. So I ended up going down a needle size and starting over completely with the same size at the waist, but just not adding extra increases for the hips. And that did turn out much better. The next kind of hurdle that I went through here is realizing that the legs were too small. So I made it all the way through the thigh decreases, which is just above the knee, when I realized that the legs were just too small. The stitches were straining like crazy. Even after blocking, I did block them. Yeah, they were just not going to work. So that started my first major pants surgery. I ended up cutting off the legs. I then basically reattached like right before the legs split. So I just had a full amount of stitches. I ended up adding stitches to each of the legs by casting on more in the crotch area. And then I didn't start decreasing for like 4 or so inches. I have all the notes in my Ravelry page if you want to see exactly what I did. Thank goodness I did that because, like I just mentioned, the legs are still a little bit snug for me. So after that, things were actually pretty good. The only other thing is I decided, because I was redoing, the whole like part from the transition from the body to the legs, I thought I would try adding in a crotch gusset. That was the whole thing for a couple of weeks. I tried the crotch gusset, I tried it on. Turns out, definitely didn't need that extra material, especially in that place, so lesson learned. That one actually was such a pain to take out because it was short rows and all these different like short ends that I ended up with. Separating the leg, the fix that I need to do now, is going to be so much easier than that, thank goodness. After that, honestly, things were really smooth sailing. So in summary, the only thing I really changed about the pattern is I added more stitches to the crotch gusset to adjust for my legs. And then I just didn't start decreasing. Sorry, I didn't start decreasing with the thighs for a while, again, to accommodate my legs. So that's really all I ended up changing. Even through all of these ups and downs, that's the only difference between my version and the pattern version. That is it. So it was pretty slow but smooth after that because I really just worked on them during my morning knitting and reading time, which is 30 minutes, just about every single day. But even then, I moved through the bottom part of the leg in about 2 weeks. So I feel pretty good about that. So I finished these. Well, I mean, I'm saying I finished them yesterday, but really, I've still got to go back. So they're not going to be finished for a few more days. But roughly finishing them on March 22nd. So December 29th to March 22nd, we're looking at about 12 weeks, which is a long time because they really shouldn't have taken that long. It was all the starting and stopping and figuring things out. The next time I make a pair of pants or shorts, I've just learned so much. Like I've learned so much. I feel like it's going to be smoother. I really hope so. And the biggest thing that I have learned is trying things on. I mean, I already knew this, but still trying things on And oh my goodness, if you think something is wrong, double check. It will save you so much time. How about we move on to a happier, almost finished object? Because I have so many feelings about this pants right now. And I also have so many feelings about this blanket, but they are very positive at the moment. We'll see. There is still a few Hexies to add in here. So this is my 50 States Hexie Blanket. I've also called it my travel blanket. It is a modified version of the Summer Fade Hexie Blanket by Mallory Kroll. It's an excellent pattern. I've got tons of notes in my Ravelry page. I have noted exactly how I have modified each of the Hexies. That's really my only major modification, is that I changed a few of the last rounds and then I added an additional round to make my Hexies bigger. Other than that, I'm following the pattern. I'm joining them the same way. I guess that's sort of true. I'm joining them in a different order, but the join technique is still the same. Okay, so I think let's talk through this week what I have gotten done, and then we'll kind of, do a little dive back like we did with the pants and talk about the whole journey of this blanket, because man, it is a journey. I also did a vlog. I've been vlogging the past 3 weeks as I've been really motivated to finish this blanket. So you might have seen that come out on Tuesday. If you haven't already, you can go and watch that vlog. So I wanted to talk about this, in a finished state, because that vlog is coming out first because I'm finishing filming it tonight, but the podcast I'm filming before that. Anyway, it's like weird timing things with how this is coming out, but that's why I wanted to show this finish. And also, again, I've talked about this one a lot. I don't really want to bring it into another podcast. I want new things coming up. Okay, so let me dive back. I should have brought my table down here today. I did not bring my table down here. Upstairs with my other chair, and my stash area is looking really messy right now because of this blanket. I just have yarn everywhere that I need to sort and put away. But also there's a lot of people in the house today and they're making like noises and stuff in the kitchen. So I came back here, which is great. I did set up this area to podcast. But yeah, that's why I don't have my table, because I forgot to bring that down with all the other things. So let's see, where did I start this week? I have done, I think, more than 21 Hexies. My original goal when I restarted this 3 weeks ago was 3 Hexies a day. That was going to get me to the end. I had about 60 to add. And this last week, I had to ramp it up to 4 Hexies a day because I did get behind. We had Nash Yarn Fest last weekend, and that took up a lot of time. Oh, I have an end I need to cut. It's already woven in, but I just need to cut it. So, oh, here we go. Perfect. So my technique for remembering what I've done each week is I put my Cheez-It marker into the last Hexie I did, and then the one next door is the first one. So let's go through those here. Okay, so this one is from Rhode Island. It's Kin Yarn and it's called Fiona. Then we have another Rhode Island one. This is Hope Made Yarn and it is called Wild Tulip. And this one was really great to get to add because somebody, when I was at the Skane yarn shop in Rhode Island, somebody wound off 20 grams for me because this was like their special store colorway that they didn't sell or didn't have any more of. And so they wound it off for me and gave it to me, which was really nice. This one is from the Mermaid's Pearl. It is a yarn store and a dye company, and it is called Swell, which I thought was just perfect for Rhode Island. Now we are moving on-ish to a Connecticut dyer, but I also got this in Rhode Island. This is from Needles at the Ready, and it is called Ocean Jasper. Now we're moving to a new state, Massachusetts, and this is from Boston Fiber Company, also a yarn store and a yarn company, and it is their Boston Fiber Company colorway. Then we have Melanie's Stash, and it's called Snow Squall. I try really hard to get colors that make me think of that state or remind me of that state. So that worked out nicely. This one is from Wild Violet Fibers. It's called Lost in the Woods. I had Kent pick this one out for me. This one is called, or is from Toil and Trouble, and is called Seance. We got it in Salem, Massachusetts. Salem? Is that right? I think so. I think so. And then we are moving on to Maine. So this is from Snallygaster Fibers. It's called Toes in the Water. This one is from Seven Sister Arts. It is called Purple Mountain. This one is from the Wicked Knitta, and that's how it's spelled. And it's called Undertow. And this one is from Asylum Fibers. These are all Maine dyers. There's so many yarn dyers in Maine. This is from Asylum Fibers, and it's called She Fell. All right, moving on to a couple of new states. So there was some yarns I was waiting on in the mail, and I got my final one from Vermont. Vermont? Yes, is that right? Yeah, from Vermont, from Nightingale Fibers, the day before I needed to add it to the blankets. It was just perfect timing, could not have been better. Way better luck than my pants. It's not luck. I caused that problem to happen. Anyway, this is from Nightingale Fibers out of Vermont, and it is called Granite. And then, actually, you know what? I think I've messed this up. I think that this is from New Hampshire, and I have my notes wrong, because I believe New Hampshire is the granite state. So I think I have that totally wrong. Forgive me. This, I believe, is from New Hampshire, Nightingale Fibers, and it's called Granite. This one is from Vermont and is from Mimi Yarns. It's an unknown colorway that she gifted me. It was a mini skein. Okay, this is just a solid mini skein that was part of a New Jersey yarn. So I kind of scattered mini skeins throughout. Like, they were mini skeins that went with a sock set that was a specific state yarn. And so instead of having them all in a row, because they're all solids, I spread them out throughout the next few hexies here. Oh my gosh, this is so heavy. So we're going now into New York and then New Jersey, because even though we'd already visited New York, we did do an additional yarn store while we were in New York, and we went to Rhinebeck again. So it kind of felt right to like add New York back in again, and then we went to New Jersey. So this is not a New York dyer, but I got it for Rhinebeck. It is from Ruby and Roses, and it is called Sunset on the Hudson. My color order down here is not correct. I have got to go back and fix this. I still have to like reconcile all of the photos and colorway names. Anyhow. And then this colorway is a mini that actually went with this one. And this one is also from Ruby and Roses, and it's called Amber Foliage. And those were all from Rhinebeck, all those Ruby and Roses ones. I wonder if I added those in a different order than I intended to originally, and that's why it's not right on there. I'll fix it, don't worry. Here's another mini skein that goes with our New Jersey yarns. I'll go with this one we'll get to in a second. And then we're into New Jersey. This is Chelsea Yarns, and this one is called Red Bank, which is where they are in New Jersey, so that's perfect. This is a mini skein from a mini skein set that was like used earlier, so just ignore it for now. It's not in perfect order. And then this one is the main color with all the other mini skeins that you saw. This one is from New Jersey. It's called Color Wheel. It's from Color Wheel Yarns, and it's called Fall at Yarnia. This one is from La Bien Amie, and it is called Springtime at Yarnia, which is great. Spring or springtime? Springtime, I think. Okay, last mini skein that went with the Color Wheel Yarns. It came with 3. We're almost there, I promise. 2 more to show you. Well, 3, 4, 5 more to show you, but 2 more that are added to the blanket. Then we have an Ohio. I got this in Ohio, but it is a Maryland dyer, Magpie Fibers, and it is called Rockin' Robin for Robin of Yarn Birds. And then the final one that's in the blanket right now, not quite done, but this is from Kenya Knits. I'm trying to find it. Kenya's Knits, and it is called Staycation. It is a colorway that we did specifically for the Love and Stitches membership. Kenya is one of my Love and Stitches members, and she dyed this based off of Lake Tahoe. So it's really beautiful, and I thought it would be a perfect thing to add into the blanket. It came into my stash last summer, and I just haven't had a chance to work with it yet. So where that leaves us is I keep double checking because I'm like so scared that I have not done the math right, and I'm either not going to get to add one of the yarns or I'm going to be short, but this seems to be right. Between these two, I have 3 hexies left to add. So this is going to be done today, which is why we're considering it done. I have 3 hexies left. I'll show those to you now, just since they're not going to get their chance next week. Also, this is going to be finished, as I said. We will put in like a picture or a video, maybe just right here, a picture or a video so you can see it fully done. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the size and stuff later, so I'll also probably put something in there. Okay, last things here. The last state that we visited and filmed at was South Carolina. So I have these 2 yarns that are going in. They're both sparkle. I'm so excited. I've already started one of them today. This is Silly Goose Fiber Co. Both of them are. This is Pink Pony Club and Midwest Princess, both from the Chapel Roan collection. And then the final yarn and hexie that's going to be going into the blanket is one that I just got this past weekend, or the weekend before, at Nash Yarn Fest. And it is from, oh, did I not put it in here? Where did it go? It's from Seismic Yarn, but it's called White Limousine, based on the Dolly Parton restaurant. I think that's right. So I feel like this is just going to be a fun way to end the blanket. It's my favorite color. It's representative of Tennessee, even though Seismic Yarn is a California dyer. It was dyed for Nash Yarn Fest, so it just feels like a nice way to tie things up. I talked about that last week when I got this yarn, and I have decided to put it in. So, oh my gosh, I can't, like, it's not done yet, so like my emotions are not there for like it being done, but like this has been such a long project. Actually, speaking of, let's talk through the whole thing. How long have I already been talking about this? 12 minutes. That's not too bad. I don't think we have too much more to say. Okay, so let's go back to the very beginning, and I'm going to walk you through and share a couple of photos along the way of how this blanket has grown, because I think that will be really fun. I don't think I've done that at all. I don't even know if I did that in the vlog. So this may be the first time you may be seeing some of the pictures of the blanket when it was smaller. So I started this on September 6, 2023. We started traveling in August, I think like August 10th or something like that. We started traveling with a goal to go to all 50 states. So when I originally started this blanket, I thought I will get 1 or so yarns in each state, and I will make a beautiful blanket. And I had, it took me until September to settle on this blanket and like test out how to add it and figure out, you know, how I wanted to adapt the hexies and all of that. So I officially started it in September, about a month or so after we started traveling. I'd already collected a bit of yarn by that time, so it was time to get started. It was really cool to look back through my Ravelry photos. So I have a photo of every single hexie with the colorway name and state in Ravelry. So if you want to like go through all of that, all of them will be there by the time this goes up, because I will be done. But I also kept, in the very like first 10 pictures, I have photos of each ring of the blanket as I completed it, because I started with 1 central hexie from Tennessee, and then I added 6 hexies, like I attached 1 to each side of the hexagon, and that made my first ring. So that was ring number 1, and I took a picture every time I finished a ring. I thought that it took me a long time between rings to make this blanket, but when I look back on it, actually there's a little bit of a pattern. So let's go through each of the dates on that. I actually need to go back to my Ravelry page here. Okay, so I need to get it into a setting that I can see. So the first circle or ring that I completed was 7 total hexies, 1 in the center, 6 around, and I completed that on September 30th. So I started, what did I say, September 6th, and I finished that on September 30th, so not too bad. I finished the second ring on October 18th. I had 19 hexies in total. I finished the third ring on November 4th, and I had 37 Hexies in total. So between each of these first 3 rings, it took me about a month, I would say, between each one. Not quite, but about a month. And each ring around the Hexie gets bigger by 6 hexagons. So that was pretty cool. I had, at that point, I wasn't really understanding fully how it was growing and how to predict it. And I think somebody along the way shared a comment on my podcast like, hey, they're getting bigger by 6 each time because you're getting 1 more to each side or something like that. It's true. It's 6 more each time, but I can't remember exactly. So then the next like ring took me a little bit longer. So from November 4th, when I completed the 3rd ring, it took me until January 4th to complete the 4th ring, which I now had 61 Hexies in total. So at this point I was thinking, wow, this is getting pretty big. It's getting a little cumbersome in the van. It's starting to seem like maybe I'm not gonna have 1 yarn in each state, as I already have 61 and we haven't even visited half the states at this point. So then I started to kind of change the way that I was thinking about it. And I just was like, if I get a lot of yarn, it's fine. If I buy more than 1 in each state, it's okay. Like, I'd rather really just enjoy this time traveling and like get to experience all of the yarns that I can and support all the yarn stores that I can. And that is totally what happened, because by the time we get to March here, 5th ring completed on March 10th, 2024. I had 91 Hexies in total. And I think at that point I had No, at this point I hadn't gone yet. So the Bay Area yarn crawl that we went on last year in March, it was at the end of March, not the beginning. I'm thinking incorrectly. So at this point, when I finished the 5th ring, so again, it took me 2 months to go from four to 5 rings. I had just done the Rose City yarn crawl in Portland, which I got a ton of yarn for my blanket. And then the very next weekend, I went on the Bay Area yarn crawl and I got like 20 something skeins of yarn because there was 21 yarn stores and so many dyers and so many show colorways. And I just went nuts. And I think that really, at that point, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do something about it. So I had a really regimented schedule for about a month. So you can see I went from completing the 5th ring on March 10th to completing the 6th ring on April 8th, and I had 127 Hexies. So this is the first photo where I'm holding the blanket up, and you can see just how big it's getting. Now at this point, I took a really long break. I believe we came back to my parents' house here in Tennessee. We came at some point in either May or June because we were gone. We went on a tropical vacation where we flew, and like when we came back, we went straight back into the van. And at that point in June, I did not bring the Hexie blanket with me. I didn't think I was going to take this long of a break, but I did plan on taking a break from it. So from April 8th all the way until just a few weeks ago, I did not work on the blanket at all. But once I did get back to working on it, I was really, really diligent. And I completed the 7th ring on March 8th, 2025. So April 8th to March 8th took that whole time for me to finish another ring around the Hexie. And at that point I was at 169 Hexies. So now I'm about to finish the 8th and final ring of the blanket. And this final ring has 48 Hexies in it. And actually I need my calculator to do that math because we were at 169. Hold on, 169 plus 48. When I'm finished, I will have 217 Hexies. That's about 4 times more than I originally set out to do. But it was so much fun, and I have every single state represented in here, which is just so cool. The blanket itself, I've been holding fingering weight double the entire time. I just love, first of all, fingering weight was much easier for me to find. That was hand dyed and representative of the state, but also it just blends the colors together so beautifully. And I've really enjoyed how that looks. And it's made this nice kind of dense, heavy blanket. It's just so cool. So I do have an estimate of how big this blanket is. And again, maybe here I'll put in some more photos or videos of what the blanket actually looks like. The shape overall is a hexagon. I never changed the shape. I thought about kind of squaring it or rectangulating it off. I never did that. I think it's really unique. I think it's really cool. I don't plan to put a border on it. I like it just the way that it is. So my best guess before actually laying it out on the bed and measuring it is that it's about 84 inches across. So from one flat side of the Hexie to the other, it's 84 inches. So what that kind of means is that it's sort of 84 inches long and sort of 84 inches wide. I'm probably gonna have like a flat side at, up at my chest and a flat side at my feet. So that's probably 84 inches. But then from side to side, I'm getting angles. So it's not quite 84 inches wide, but it really doesn't need to be because it's wide enough for sure. I'll take more measurements and put them into my Ravelry page. Okay. I think that's everything I wanted to say about that. If you want to see more about this blanket, which I know you're probably saying, how could there possibly be more for you to share about? I do talk a lot about the Hexies and the color planning process and all of that in the vlog that went out on Tuesday. So if you're a glutton for more crochet talk, you can find it all there. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Just when I think I've learned all of Squarespace's tricks, I discover something new. This past week, I was getting my new page set up for the Float Tote Cowl, which is free to join, by the way. And I realized that I can try out different layouts of each section with just a couple of clicks. I mean, how easy is that? Even if you're brand new to making a website, you can totally do this. Squarespace makes it super easy to set up your website in just a few clicks, and then you can tweak everything from there. And it's actually way more than just a basic website. You can create gated content for your subscribers, develop a full-blown course, or book clients with Acuity. Use their templates to get you started, or try out their new design intelligence. Cutting-edge AI technology that can help tailor your site to your unique needs. If you're a small business owner, it couldn't be easier to get started with Squarespace. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/nittynatty and use code nittynatty to get 10% off your first website or domain. Thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's podcast. Now let's get into some more projects. You will never have to see those first two projects again because I am not planning on bringing them back into the podcast next week, even though they will be done. I will not let a week go by without fixing those pants. Hold me to it on Instagram, please. I need to get that done. And this guy is getting done today. I'm like so excited to use him. I'm just gonna leave it right here because I feel like that will look really pretty. Well, I'm really tempted to start some new things now that I have two big projects off the needles, sort of. I am really trying not to. I'm trying to keep myself disciplined. I'm feeling really motivated to finish stuff, which is great. So instead of starting anything new or like starting to look into a new project, when I had some time this week that I wasn't working on these two things, I have been putting in a few stitches on my lingering whips that I would love to show you. I am also, and this is like underneath a lamp, what is happening? Setting up for the podcast today, it took me so long. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I am going through my like half-finished whip basket. It's a few half-finished whips, another thing I need to fix, my Salty Days sweater, things that just need like ends woven in or to kind of clean up the yarn and divide it up, whether it needs to go into the scrap bin or whatever. And I am going through that this week because I need to clean all that up. That's something that I didn't touch originally when I did my stash organization here a few months ago. So I'm planning to go through all that. So I know it's not probably the most interesting thing to see other projects come back in, but that is the reality of my knitting right now. And I really want to go ahead and do that because we're going to be traveling again coming up in like 4 weeks, and I won't be able to take that stuff with me. So for me, it's better to have lingering things finished and get them done because like this project, my gauge changed because so much time had passed. I have another project where my gauge changed. I don't want that to happen with Salty Days. I want to just fix it. So that's probably what you're going to see coming into the projects in the next few weeks before starting anything new. So this is my next priority to finish. And I have been working on it a little bit this week. I did add in a new adorable stitch marker to kind of fit the theme of the month. It's a little chocolate bunny. Isn't that so cute? And I am making a brioche cowl. So this is yarn from Ruby and Roses. It is Rosy Cheeks is the lighter color and Material Girl, I believe, is the hot pink one. And it is out of her plump, whoa, come on camera. Plump Rose base, which is an 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, 2-ply, and it's really yummy and squishy. Add to it that I'm doing brioche, and it's like the squishiest, yummiest fabric. It's so, so good. Brioche is so much fun. It's so cool. So originally when I started this cowl, I was basing it off of a free pattern called Brioche Loop. And right away, I changed the stitch count and reduced the stitch count. And then eventually I realized that the pattern itself was not full brioche, it was half brioche. One of my members pointed that out to me and I was like, okay, so we're not doing the same stitch count, we're not doing the same stitch. And then there was some cables in that pattern and I ended up changing them to brioche increasing and decreasing, which is what I'm doing here. It's kind of this wild, modern sort of not really anything too exciting because I made this up and I'm not a brioche designer, but I'm doing this kind of fun increasing and decreasing. And all of this came about because I was teaching workshops on brioche knitting. So we first mastered 2-color brioche knitting, just doing the basic stitches, and then we moved into brioche increasing and decreasing. So this has been a great cowl to teach on. I intentionally made sure when I picked this project that even though its original intent was for me to teach on it, I wanted it to be something that I would want to wear. So I picked colors that I really like. The lighter pink is the same color as my Nordlig cardigan. I also went ahead and bought enough yarn to make matching hot pink gloves, and I have one skein from my Nordlig cardigan left over that's the light pink that I can make a hat. So my intention is that one day I will have a hat, cowl, and gloves that all go together. I'm probably not finishing them this season, but I can do it at some point. I have all the yarn for it and I have the plan. So this is my next thing that I'm going to be working on as much as possible. I don't think I have too much more to do of the increasing and decreasing before I switch back to just doing 2-color brioche. So that's going to make it a lot easier and faster. Actually, that's probably not true. I'm probably only halfway done because I like a pretty tall cowl, especially for a single loop one, so that it can actually be functional and be somewhat warm. So I will be working on that until it's finished. And only when I finish this will I be casting on something new. The last project I've been working on this week, I've only been working on for the last couple of days because once I finished knitting on the pants, I needed a simple project to work on in the morning for my morning knitting and reading. So I brought back out my Handspun Manhattan Hat, and you can see I've only done like an inch on it, but look how pretty it's looking. So this is my first handspun yarn. It's not perfect. It is very much like a little bit loose, a little bit uneven, and I've got 2 more skeins of it to add in. So the thing that I discovered this week is that I did not pay attention to which side of the skein that I started with. So I have this skein that I started, which is more purple. So very purpley. And then I have a skein that's like kind of purpley pink and then a really pink one. So I want the really pink one to be on the top, the crown of the hat. I want this one to be in the middle and I want the purpley one to be at the bottom because out of these colors, even though I love them all, pink is my favorite and I thought that would be a nice gradient. But what I didn't realize when I started knitting on this skein is that I didn't start with the most purpley end. I started with a more pink end, and you can see now it's getting to be really purpley, and at the end of the skein, if I had just maybe looked that the outside was really purple, I would have realized that this was going to end more purple. So then that's not exactly the transition I was hoping for. But then I realized that this is going to fold up into a triple fold brim, and I think I might have lucked out on my mistake. So let me show you what I mean, because I have a finished Manhattan hat here that I made last year. So this is the Manhattan hat by Tori Yu. I'm making it almost the exact same way. So this brim is a triple fold. So if you fold it down once and then twice, it creates 3 layers. I guess it's a double fold, but it creates a triple layer. So whatever you want to call that. So right now, my pinker part is right here and my purpley part is coming right here. And what's going to happen is it's going to fold up once. I don't think I can do that holding it up. So it's going to fold up once. So the purpley part will be back here, right? And then it's going to fold up again, which means I think that the purpley part will end up, goodness, Natalie, the purpley part will end up down here, then fade to my next color of pink. Wait, I need to really examine this. No, it will be still purple. It will go purpley back to purple to pink. Yeah, I think that'll be all right. I think this is going to work out. And then it will have my actual pink coming in here. I actually don't know for sure, but I think it's going to be okay. I'm not going to take it out. I'm not going to redo it because if my prediction is correct, hold on. Let's see what this looks like when I fold it up. Obviously, it's going to be hard to tell because the fold is not really exactly where it's going to be. So that's one fold right there. And then when it folds up again, I think the purpliest purple part will be at the bottom. This is already starting to fade to pink. Then I will have this, and then I will have this. So I think I lucked out. I think I got just lucky, and that's going to be okay. So I will be paying better attention when I skein or cake these up, which I need to do because I'm getting low on this. This is now kind of my only portable project that I can do without looking at it. So I'm hoping to make some progress on this week as well after I fix the pants. But yeah, that's a bit of good news that at least I needed after the tragedy of the pants today. I've got just a bit of Yarny news to share with you, and then we will get on to the highlight segment, and that will be it for today's episode. So, first bit of news. The Spinning Siren has given us a discount. She saw my videos all about this eel wheel box, and if you haven't seen this yet, I do talk about it 2 episodes back. Episode 265, and I also have a spinning vlog that I talked about it in. But this is the eel wheel box by the Spinning Siren, and they have given us a 15% off coupon code. So that coupon code is my favorite people, and it will get you 15% off at thespinningsiren.com. They have those for the Nano. So mine's the Eel Wheel Nano, and they also have them for the Eel Wheel 6 and all kinds of fun spinning accessories. The Float Tote Cowl is coming up. We're going to begin April 4th. It'll be April 4th through the 30th. So we will be making this. This is the float tote, the 3 skein size, and I have a bunch of stuff in there, but basically you make these, let me find the right one. I have a couple of old versions of things in here. You make these little yarn cups to put your cakes in, and it keeps them all nice and sorted. 3 of these fit in the 3 skein size, 5 fit in the 5 skein size. I also have the mini version, which has 2 or 1. They all fit in there. They keep your yarn very organized. If you're working a multi-skein project, it's really, really nice. I feel like this is a great project for newer crocheters. Make sure that you have mastered at least chaining and single crochet. You can count your stitches. Other than that, I'm going to be covering everything else for you. So I've got full video tutorials that will be coming out every week. We're going to have 2 Zooms. We're going to kick it off on April 4th, and then we'll have a closing Zoom on April 30th. Those are both at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to have a Discord that starts April 1st, and you'll be able to submit photos for participation prizes, which will be really fun. Everything for the for the cowl itself is free. You do need to get the pattern. If you sign up for the make-along by March 30th, you'll get a coupon code for 50% off the float tote if you don't have it already. If you do already have the float tote pattern on Ravelry, make sure you go check for an update because I completely revamped the pattern. I made improvements to the format, to the information, to the way you actually make it. I made an update regarding how much yarn you need. I had at some point, not originally, but at some point when I updated the pattern, I had flipped the yardage amounts for contrast color and main color, which makes me feel terrible, but I have fixed it and I have confirmed it. So please make sure you check all of that. I sent out an update to everyone on Ravelry. If you purchase the pattern through Etsy, all you need to do is send me an email and I can send you the updated version of the pattern. No problem. I can look up your order by email. Okay, next up is a knit for food. knit-a-thon. That starts on April 5th. Well, actually it concludes on April 5th. The big event is April 5th, but right now we're still fundraising. So this is a make-a-thon. I'm just making up words. This is an event put on by Laura Nelkin. It benefits Feeding America, World Central Kitchen, No Kid Hungry, and Meals on Wheels. The goal this year is to fundraise $379,000, and our personal Team Love and Stitches goal is to fundraise $3,500, which we have already blown out of the park. I think the last I checked, we were at $3,900, which is just amazing. I'm so happy to see that. If you do want to join our team, you are welcome to, but I feel like it's okay to spread the love too, so no pressure to join Team Love and Stitches. All of the money goes to the same place. It's just kind of a fun thing to do. So I will put the link down below, and that's coming up on April 5th. That's the last day of fundraising, and it's the day that there are Zooms all day long, which will be fun. Last thing is Yarn Centric is coming up on Friday, May 2nd. Also, Maryland Sheep and Wool is the 3rd and the 4th. So all of this is coming up very soon. I'm going to be there. I'm so excited. Yarn Centric specifically, you do need tickets for in advance. So it is happening from 10 to 5 p.m. There are ticketed time slots that are tiered throughout the day. It's located in Frederick, Maryland. It's only like 30 minutes from West Friendship, where the Maryland Sheep and Wool is happening. And you can find all the information on yarncentric.com. Now, I shared last week that Yarn Centric is giving away 50 tickets to my followers. I need to follow up with them and see how many have been claimed already, but I haven't heard that they're full, so I'm going to share it. So if you email them, yarncentric@gmail.com, with your preferred time slot and my secret code, which is Toaster, they will give you a free ticket. That's all you have to do. Just email them and say, hey, I heard about it on the Love and Stitches podcast. The secret code is Toaster. This is the time slot I would like, and they will give you a free ticket. Now, they did want me to note that the first time slot is likely to fill up first, so that one may be unavailable. So maybe just if you're asking for the first time slot, say your second choice as well. I will be there actually in the second time slot, and I will be doing a meet and greet from 1 to 2 p.m. So I'm really excited about Yarn Centric and Maryland Sheep and Wool. This will be our first time at Yarn Centric, our second time at Maryland Sheep and Wool, and it's kind of the kickoff to our next adventure in the van. Just a couple of things to highlight from the past week, which has been mostly filled with crocheting and knitting, as it has been for the last little while, but a few things that are a little bit exciting. I did have kind of a little day to myself on Friday, and I went to Bliss Yarns during the day. I usually go to their Thursday evening stitch night. I try to go. I hadn't been in a few weeks, but I did go Thursday, and then I was like, well, I'm taking Friday off. Why don't I come in on Friday as well? So I didn't get to stay long, but I did go to the coffee shop that I used to go to all the time when I worked at Bliss, and I got a coffee. And then I worked on one of my crochet hexies while I was there. I had all of them wound up because I was like, I'm going to get a ton done. But I was waiting on Toaster to be finished at the getting a bath, and they called me and he was done super quick. So I was like, oh, darn, like I'm happy Toaster's done, but I'm sad to leave the yarn store. But it was still a fun day regardless. On Saturday, we had our monthly meetup with Nashville Love and Stitches members, which was really nice. We had a great group, and we just enjoyed chatting and everything, and it was really fun. I got a lot of crochet and knitting done. I was going back and forth between making a hexie and adding in a few rows on my pants. So got a lot done that day. And then I also did a Pilates workshop this weekend that was really awesome. So I go to Pilates. I've been going like 2 to 3 times a week since we've been back here at my parents', which is so amazing. I started out going to Pilates back when we lived in Texas, stopped for a little bit, tried going to the gym, wasn't my favorite. When we moved to New York, I joined back in with Pilates, and I was going really consistently, and it was so great. I was feeling really strong. It made me feel really like flexible, and just something about Pilates, it makes just life easier. Like it makes it easier to sit because you're stronger in your core. It makes it easier to move. It makes it easier to knit because you're getting to like move and manipulate your hands and arms and strengthen everything. And it just made me feel amazing. And then we went and traveled for a year and a half and I didn't do Pilates. And so when we came back here, I was like, I'm going to Pilates even if we're only here for a few months. So I've been going and it's been fantastic. So I'm thinking ahead into when we're going to be traveling again. And this is a shorter term travel. We're going to be gone for like 4 or 5 months. I'm not going to be able to go to Reformer Pilates, and that's okay. But my Pilates studio was offering a workshop about how to do Pilates when you're on vacation. So I was like, hey, that's me. Like I'm kind of going on vacation, sort of vacation for a long time. And it would be great to know what Pilates moves I can do when I'm on vacation. So I went to the workshop on Saturday. It was fantastic. I learned so much. It's amazing. Like in the class, I've learned a lot, but when it was just a workshop, which was kind of like half lecture, half, trying things out and trying the exercises, I learned so much more about what makes Pilates amazing. And so much of it was like basically moving your spine in different ways, which is great for your health. So that was really cool to learn about. And then I ended up discovering that there are foldable yoga mats. I did not know that. I've only seen the yoga mats that roll. So the instructor had this yoga mat that like folds up into, it's still kind of thick, but it's small. And I'm like, that would be great for the van because there's not really anywhere to put a rolled up yoga mat, at least right now how we have things packed. So a foldable yoga mat, I can pretty much do everything with just that, which is amazing. So I'm looking forward to building myself a little Pilates class that I can do on the road and keep up with all of the progress that I've made, all the strength that I have acquired, all the flexibility and comfort. So that was a really big highlight for me for the weekend. All right. I think that's everything. What a long episode. My goodness. I am going to take a break before I tackle these pants here because they're driving me nuts. They're just sitting there on the ground and I'm angry. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to get into them. If you haven't already seen the blanket vlog from this Tuesday, I will put it here so you can check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!